Rain paid relentlessly across the Texas plains, turning the dusty trails into rivers of mud. The sky roared with thunder, lightning flashing over the endless horizon. Emma stumbled along the narrow path, her coat sucked through, her breath coming in shallow, painful gasps. Every step felt heavier than the last. Her ribs ached, her chest burned, and her mind spun with memories as she wished as she could bury the man who broke her heart, the crush that left her scarred, and the loneliness that had followed her like a shadow ever since. The pain was too much. As she clutched her side, gasping, trying to breathe, but her body refused to obey. Her vision blurred, and the world began to tilt. Through the roaring wind, as she heard the distant sound of hooves. A horse galloped closer, the sound echoing in the storm. Then came a deep voice, steady and strong. Hey, you okay, sir? As she barely saw him through the rain, a tall man in a white brimmed hat, his coat dark against the storm. He jumped down from his horse, mud splashing beneath his boots, and ran to her. His hands were firm yet gentle as he caught her before she fell to the ground. Stay with him, he said, his voice low and calm, though his eyes were filled with worry. Emma tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. As she couldn't breathe, couldn't move. The pain shot through her ribs again, and a small whimper escaped her lips. It's alright, the cowboy whispered, pulling off his coat and wrapping it around her trembling shoulders. You're safe now. I got you. Her body went limp against his chest as he lifted her in his arms. As she could feel the warmth of him even through the storm's chill. His heartbeat was steady, strong, like an anchor in a sea of chaos. The scent of rain, litter, and earth surrounded her as her eyes fluttered open just long enough to see his face, rough around the edges, with skinned eyes that held something deeper than words. He carried her to his horse, speaking softly, trying to keep her awake. We're almost there, just hold on. As she wanted to tell him to let her go, that she wasn't worth saving, but all she could do was nod weakly as he lifted her onto the saddle and climbed up behind her, one arm holding her close. The rhythm of the horse's gallop matched the thudding beat of her heart as they rode through the storm. By the time they reached his cabin, Emma was barely conscious. The warmth of the firelight blurred with the sound of his voice, deep, reassuring, wrapping around her like a blanket. You're safe here, he said again, laying her gently on the bed. As she felt the soft touch of his hand brush wet strands of hair from her face. You're gonna be just fine. For the first time in a long while, Emma let go. The storm outside raged on, but inside that small wooden cabin, there was only the sound of rain against the window, the crackle of fire, and the quiet breathing of a man who didn't even know her name but had already saved her life. When Emma woke, sunlight was spilling through the thin curtains of the cabin, painting golden lines across the wooden floor. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. The soft crackle of a fire filled the silence, and the smell of coffee drifted through the air. Her body ached, especially her ribs, but she could breathe, slowly, carefully, without that crushing pain from before. When she turned her head, she saw him, the cowboy from the night before. He sat near the table, fixing a worn-out saddle, his hat resting beside him. His movements were steady and patient, like someone used to long days and quiet work. You're awake, he said without looking up. His voice was calm, low, and carried a quiet strength. You fainted out by the ridge. Had to jet you out of that storm. Emma tried to sit up, wincing at the sharp pain in her chest. I thank you, she whispered, her voice barely audible. He finally looked at her, those dark brown eyes filled with concern but not judgment. You've got some bruised ribs, he said. And you were half frozen. You're lucky I found you when I did. Emma glanced around the small cabin, simple but warm. There was a wooden table, a few old photographs, and shelves filled with books and towels. Everything looked worn but cared for. The kind of place that belonged to someone who lived alone and didn't mind the silence. She lowered her gaze to her hands, not sure what to say next. I didn't mean to trouble you. I just needed to get away for a while. He shrugged, tying off the leather strap he'd been working on. We all need to get away sometimes. You don't owe him an explanation. The kindness in his voice almost broke her. People usually wanted answers, reasons, stories. But not him. He didn't ask where she come from or why she looked so lost. He simply offered help without expecting anything in return. That quiet understanding unsettled her more than any question could. When he stood and walked toward the stove, the floorboards creaked beneath his boots. He poured her a cup of coffee and handed it to her, his rough hands surprisingly gentle. Drink this. You need it. Emma accepted it with trembling fingers. The warmth spread through her chest, easing the cold that had lingered deep inside her. For the first time in weeks, she felt something close to peace. He went back to his work, speaking after a long pause. Name's Luke. Emma, she said softly. Emma Gray. Luke nodded, his expression unreadable. Well, Emma Gray, looks like you'll need a few days to heal up. You can rest here as long as you need. She wanted to protest, to tell him she couldn't stay, but her body had already made that choice for her. Every muscle begged for rest. She nodded slowly, grateful but uncertain. Thank you, Luke. I don't know how to repay you. He smiled faintly, his eyes still focused on the saddle. Don't worry about that. Just get better. The rest can wait. As the day stretched on, Emma watched him move around the cabin, fixing, cleaning, feeding the horse outside. He didn't talk much, but his silence wasn't empty. It felt calm, like the quiet before sunrise. She found herself breathing easier just being near him. Ranch began to follow a rhythm that soothed Emma's bruised spirit. Mornings started early, with the smell of coffee and the golden light of dawn spilling over the plains. Luke would already be outside, tending to the horses, his silhouette framed against the rising sun. At first, Emma stayed inside, watching him from the window, still uncertain about where she belonged. But soon, she found herself stepping out into the open air, the wind brushing against her face, the scent of hay and earth grounding her in a way she hadn't felt for years. She began helping him with small chores, feeding the animals, brushing the horses, sweeping the porch. Each task, no matter how simple, made her feel useful again. The quiet companionship between them deepened with each passing day. They didn't need many words. Sometimes Luke would tell her stories about the land, about how he grew up there, how the storms could destroy everything one season and bring it back to life the next. Emma listened, her heart slowly opening, realizing that healing wasn't always loud or sudden. Sometimes it came in the quiet moments between sunrise and sunset. One evening, they sat outside by the fire, the sound of crickets echoing through the fields. The flames flickered against Luke's face, softening the hard lines that life had carved there. He stared into the fire for a long time before finally speaking. I lost my wife 3 years ago, he said, his voice low and steady, but with a weight that only grief could jive. She was thrown from her horse during a storm. I tried to save her, but I was too late. Haven't forgiven myself since. Emma felt her chest tighten. For the first time, she saw the pain that lived behind his calm eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice trembling. That must have been unbearable. He nodded slowly. Some days, it still is. But you learn to live with the ghosts. He turned to her then, his gaze gentle but searching. What about you, Emma? What is chasing you? The question hung between them like smoke. She wanted to stay silent, to keep her pain buried, but something in his tone, his honesty, his quiet understanding, loosened the walls she had built. I was with someone, he began. Someone who made him believe I was safe. But when I got hurt, when I needed him most, he left. Said I was too much trouble, too broken. I kept telling myself I didn't need onion. But the truth is, I just didn't want to feel that kind of pain again. Luke's eyes softened. You ain't wake up for hurting, Emma. You're still standing. That counts for something. A small smile touched her lips, the first genuine one in months. Maybe, but I don't know if I can ever trust again. He reached across the small fire, his hand brushing hers. His touch was warm, grounding. Sometimes, healing ain't about forgetting the pain, he said. It is about finding someone who won't walk away when it shows. Piece they had built together began to feel like something real, something that could last. Emma's latter had returned, soft and uncertain at first, then stronger as the days passed. Luke would catch her humming while he fed the horses, or smiling as he walked through the fields at sunset. He didn't say it out loud, but seeing her light slowly return made him feel alive again too. For a while, the world outside the ranch didn't matter. The two of them lived in their small, quiet bubble of safety and unspoken affection. But peace never lasts forever. One afternoon, a black car pulled up near the edge of the ranch, its engine rumbling like a warning. Luke was working on the fence when he noticed it. Emma, carrying a bucket of feed, froze the moment he said. Her hands trembled, the color draining from her face. No, he whispered, her voice breaking. It can't be. The door opened, and Daniel stepped out, the man he thought he had escaped. His suit looked out of place against the dusty land, his face twisted with frustration and desperation. Emma, he shouted, walking toward her. What the hell are you doing here? I've been looking everywhere for you. Luke dropped his towels and stepped closer, placing himself slightly between them. You should leave, he said evenly. He doesn't want to see you. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Who the hell are you? He snapped. You think you can hide her out here in the middle of nowhere? She's coming with him. He reached for Emma's arm, his grip rough and possessive. Emma flinched, trying to pull away. Let go, Daniel. I'm not going anywhere with you. Luke's jaw tightened, his calm beginning to crack. You hurt her, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Let her go. Daniel scoffed and tried to shove past him, but Luke grabbed his wrist, twisting it just enough to make him stop. The air grew heavy with tension, the only sound is the wind and the restless shifting of the horses nearby. You hurt her honest, Luke said through clenched teeth. You won't do it again. Daniel yanked his hand free, glaring at both of them. You think this changes anything? You'll come back, Emma. You always do. His words were bitter, but beneath them was a hint of fear of losing control, of losing her. Emma took a deep breath, her heart pounding. No, she said firmly, her voice shaking but clear. Not this time. You don't own him anymore. For the first time, Luke saw the strength in her eyes, the same fire that had been buried under pain for so long. Daniel stood there for a few seconds, jaw tight, before spitting a curse and storming back to his car. The tears spun in the dirt, leaving behind nothing but the echo of his anger and the smell of burnt rubber. When he was gone, Emma turned to Luke, tears streaming down her cheeks. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Luke didn't say anything either. He simply stepped forward and pulled her into his arms, holding her close. She buried her face against his chest, sobbing into the flannel shirt that smelled like smoke and pine spring come quietly to the plains, bringing soft winds and the scent of blooming wildflowers. The ranch that had once seemed lonely now felt alive again. The horses ran freely in the open fields, and the sound of laughter, Emma's laughter, drifted through the air. The pain that once lived in her chest had eased, replaced by something gentler, something that made her heart beat with warmth instead of fear. As she often caught herself watching Luke as he worked, the way the sunlight caught the curve of his hat, the way his hands moved with purpose and care. He had given her something as he never thought she'd find again, peace. One evening, the sky was painted with shades of gold and rose, and the air shimmered with the quiet hum of crickets. Emma stood by the corral, brushing down one of the horses, when Luke approached, his boots crunching softly on the dirt. He leaned against the fence, watching her with that calm, steady gaze as he had grown to trust. "You've changed," he said after a moment, his voice low and thoughtful. "You breathe easier now." Emma looked up at him, smiling softly. "That is because someone finally showed em how." Her words made him pause, and for a second, neither of them looked away. The silence between them wasn't empty, it was full, alive with everything they had both left unsaid. Luke stepped closer, the last of the daylight catching the edge of his smile. "Emma," he said gently, "you could have left weeks ago. The roads are clear now. Why are you still here?" As she set the brush down, turning to face him fully. "Because for the first time in years, I don't want to run anymore." Her voice trembled with honesty. "You helped them remember what it feels like to be seen, to be safe. I thought I was broken beyond fixing, but you, stopped," her eyes shining. "You reminded them that healing isn't about forgetting. It is about finding someone who understands the hurt and stays anyway." Luke's throat tightened. He reached out, his fingers brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Then let them help you keep breathing," he murmured. "Every day, for as long as you'll let them." As she didn't answer with words. Instead, as she stepped closer until her forehead rested against his chest, feeling the slow, steady rhythm of his heartbeat. His arms came around her, strong and certain, holding her as she were the most precious thing in the world. The evening breeze carried the scent of rain and earth, the sound of horses moving softly in the distance. For a long time, they stood there, two people who had been broken and rebuilt, finding comfort in the quiet strength of each other. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting the land in twilight gold. Emma lifted her head, her eyes meeting Luke's. He smiled, small but real, before leaning down to kiss her, a slow, tender promise that spoke of new beginnings.